Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye. It's a novel that, well, decades after it came out, still sparks so much debate, and it resonates really deeply with anyone who's ever felt a bit out of step with the world. It's more than just a story, isn't it? It feels like this raw, unfiltered journey, straight into the mind of a teenager who's grappling with something huge, finding authentic meaning in a world he keeps calling phony.
Yeah, what's really compelling, I think, is how Salinger just throws us right into Holden Caulfield's world. His head, really, is 16, sort of on that edge of adulthood. But his voice, his perspective, it really makes you think, what is authenticity? How do we find purpose when everything feels, well, fake? We're going to follow him through these 3 really pivotal, often messy days. It's a journey of self-discovery, sure, but also disillusionment as he wanders around New York just after getting kicked out of school. Again.
And Holden's voice is just so distinct. He's 16, yeah, but his takes are sharp, cynical a lot of the time. But there's also this surprising tenderness underneath it all sometimes. He's a really keen observer, even if he's biased. He mentions his family too, DB, the older brother who's a writer out in Hollywood, and his younger sister Phoebe. He absolutely adores her, that much is clear. But despite those connections, he starts off just so cynical, convinced the whole adult world is basically a sham.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, Salinger uses those early experiences brilliantly to set up Holden's intense rejection of phoniness. I mean, this isn't his first or second expulsion, it's the 4th. That pattern really says something about his struggle, maybe his refusal to just fit in. He really, really hates Pensy Prep, calls it full of crooks, a comedy. Even though their motto is all about nurturing creative and excellent talents, he sees that motto itself as peak hypocrisy.
It's interesting how Pensy works as this sort of mini version of the society that Holden dislikes, right?
Yeah.
His history teacher, Mr. Spencer, tries to give him some, well-meaning advice, tells him life is a game. But Holden's reaction, game, my ass. Some game. He says if you're one of the hot shots, okay, maybe it's the game. But if you're not, then what's a game about it? That really hits hard, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That whole conversation with Mr. Spencer, it's not just teenage rebellion. It shows this deep sense of injustice Holden feels. He genuinely believes the game is rigged. Like real success, real acceptance, it's only for the privileged few, the hot shots. And people like him are just stuck on the losing side. And this belief that the world is fundamentally unfair and fake, he drives everything he does and says he's searching for something real, an authentic path. But everywhere he looks, he just sees like fake smiles and empty words.
Yeah, that chat with Mr. Spencer feels like the final straw. So he leaves Pensy, literally shouts, "Sleep well, you phonies," as he walks off, and decides, okay, not going home yet. He heads to New York City. But escaping to the city, it seems to make things worse. Plunges him even deeper into this loneliness and depression. He says it himself, right? I was feeling so damn depressed and lonesome. What makes the city so isolating for him?
Well, what's really striking is that Holden is looking for connection. He desperately wants it. But he keeps ending up in situations that just seem to prove his worst fears about phoniness. Take the fight with Stradlater, his roommate. Holden writes this incredibly personal piece for him about his little brother Allie's baseball glove. Allie's gone, died young, and the glove is covered in poems, Allie wrote. It's this incredibly touching symbol of lost innocence, right?
Right, just to remind everyone, Allie died of leukemia. And Holden's grief was so intense he smashed all the garage windows with his fist. So that glove isn't just an object, it's like a piece of Allie, a piece of Holden's heart.
Exactly. It's pure raw feeling poured onto the page. In Stradlater, he's completely insensitive. He just dismisses it, says it's off topic. Then he starts talking casually about his date with Jane Gallagher. And Jane is someone Holden feels this really deep, almost protective connection to. So Holden's anger isn't just about the date itself. It's about Stradlater's total lack of respect for anything genuine and anything sacred. It's like Holden's intense inner world crashing against this casual, superficial attitude. And this pattern just keeps going. His date with Sally Hayes, for instance. He starts off feeling affectionate, but then he gets totally disgusted by her phony social act, especially when she's trying to impress some actors. And then he has this sudden, desperate idea. Let's run away. Just us. Live in a cabin. Something real. And Sally's reaction is, well, perfectly reasonable. She asks how they'd live, practical stuff. But for Holden, that just confirms it. Practical reality always crushes real dreams. He explodes at her and ends up alone again, wandering in the rain, more isolated than ever.
Wow. It sounds like just one painful encounter after another, each one just reinforcing his belief that the world is phony. So here's a question. Is he sort of looking for proof that he's right? Or is he genuinely trying to connect and just keeps failing. On his terms, anyway.
I think it's probably a bit of both.
Hmm.
He desperately wants real connection. But his own cynicism, maybe his trauma too, makes him incredibly sensitive to any hint of phoniness, which just pushes people away or makes him push them away. It's a cycle. And it really hits a low point with Sonny, the prostitute, and Maurice, the pimp. He pays her, but says he just wants to talk, not sex, just talk, some kind of human interaction. He feels sorry for her, genuinely. But when he refuses sex, they just want more money. They bully him, hit him. He ends up on the bathroom floor thinking about revenge, but just feeling totally crushed. It's this moment of complete vulnerability, humiliation, the world treating connection like a transaction.
Man, he's really at rock bottom there. Utterly alone. Is there any way out for him? Or is Salinger kind of suggesting he's stuck in this cynical loop forever? Feels like we need a glimmer of hope here.
And that's exactly where the story starts to turn, actually. Salinger begins to weave in these moments of pure, real connection, things that cut through the cynicism, like his encounter with the two nuns. It's unexpected. He feels this real empathy for them, their simple life, their selflessness. It seems like a rare bit of purity in all the chaos. And he gives them $10, which is a lot for him. It's not just charity. It feels like him reaching out, wanting to touch something genuine. But the absolute anchor in his life, the person who truly sees him and challenges him, it's Phoebe, his little sister. His love for her is maybe the most consistent, purest thing in the whole book. He risks getting caught just to sneak home and see her. And she, with this amazing intuition kids have, figures out immediately he's been kicked out again. But she doesn't yell at him. Instead, she asks him this incredibly direct, pivotal question. Name something you'd like to be.
Ah, yes. And this is where it really crystallizes, isn't it? The heart of his search for meaning. That question leads to his famous vision, the dream of being the catcher in the rye. He imagines this big field of rye where kids are playing, near a cliff edge. And his job, the only thing he wants to do is stand there and catch any kid who starts to run too close to the edge. Catch them before they fall into the phoniness of adulthood, I guess. It's not just a daydream. It feels like Salinger's metaphor for this deep, almost universal longing, right? To protect innocence, to stop time, maybe.
Exactly. It's this incredibly empathetic, protective ideal. It's Holden finding, or at least articulating, a sense of purpose. And you can see how it connects to his past trauma, too. The memory of James Castle, a classmate who was bullied and jumped out a window, died wearing Holden's turtleneck. That reinforces this powerful urge to shield the innocent. Later, he goes to see Mr. Antolini, his old English teacher, looking for guidance. And Antolini gives him this really crucial piece of advice, a totally different angle on purpose. He says, the mark of the immature man is that he wants to die nobly for a cause, while the mark of the mature man is that he wants to live humbly for one.
Wow, that's powerful. And it kind of pushes back against Holden's big catcher fantasy, doesn't it? Suggests maturity isn't about some grand dramatic rescue mission. It's about quiet, steady commitment. Does Holden get that right away?
No, not immediately. He actually misunderstands something Mr. Antolini does later and bolts, runs away again. But the idea is planted. It offers this other way of thinking about meaning, a more grounded way, humble, enduring, not this impossible heroic stand against everything.
So Holden decides he's leaving New York, heading west, wants to say one last goodbye to Phoebe at her school. But then when he meets her, she turns up with her suitcase packed, ready to go with him. She's even wearing his red hunting hat, the one he gave her. He's obviously touched by her loyalty, but he knows she can't come. It's not practical, so he gently steers her away from running off, takes her to the zoo instead, somewhere she loves.
Which leads us right to that iconic scene, maybe the most hopeful scene in the book, the carousel. And what's so amazing here is just how simple it is. After all that running around, all the angst, all the desperate searching for something huge, Holden finds this moment of pure, real happiness just watching his sister on the carousel. He sees her going round and round, reaching for the gold ring, getting soaked by the rain that starts pouring down. And he says he felt so damn happy all of a sudden, he just sits there on the bench watching her.
Yeah, it's such a shift, a moment of clarity almost, like a quiet aha. Meaning isn't in saving the whole world or finding a perfect place with no phonies. It's right there.
Right.
In that simple moment of watching someone you love experience pure joy, it's almost like he finally feels what Mr. Antolini was trying to tell him. Not with words, but just gets it.
Exactly right. It's not like Holden is suddenly cured or becomes this perfectly adjusted guy. That's not the point. It's a subtle shift. Maybe the beginning of accepting that there's beauty even in an imperfect world. That real joy, real meaning. It doesn't always have to be this grand battle against phoniness. Sometimes it's just being present, appreciating these simple, real moments, letting people have their own experiences, even if they might fall reaching for that ring. Maybe protecting innocence isn't about stopping life, but about cherishing the good moments within it.
So where does that leave us? And where does it leave you, listening? Holden's journey is this intense fight against what he sees as fake. But underneath it all, he's desperately searching for real connection, real purpose. It makes us think about our own struggles, right? How do we live authentically?
Yeah, and the ending. Him telling the story from some kind of institution that it doesn't give easy answers. It's ambiguous, like life. But that final line he shares, don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. Wow, does that mean he's resigned to being alone? Or maybe it shows a new understanding. That connection is risky, it makes you vulnerable, it hurts when it's gone. His journey is just this powerful reminder, I think. Finding meaning isn't always about grand fixes or perfect worlds. Often it's in the quiet moments, the simple connections, accepting imperfection, and finding your own way to maybe live humbly for something, even if that something is just appreciating the joy right in front of you.
So as you go about your day, maybe think about this. In a world that can definitely feel phony sometimes, or just overwhelming, where do you find your carousel moments? Those little flashes of genuine joy or connection? And what does it really mean to protect innocence in others or even in yourself? How do we learn to live humbly for our own causes instead of just dreaming about noble, maybe impossible ones? Something to chew on.